Good evening and welcome to the March 16th Planning Commission meeting. Roll call, if you would, please.
Commissioner Samut.
Here.
Commissioner Marshall.
Here.
Chair Chase.
Here.
Commissioner Biasotti.
Here.
Commissioner Mishra.
Here.
Commissioner or Vice Chair Peterson should be on his way. Commissioner Johnson may be here late or may not be able to make it tonight.
Thank you, Aaron. Commissioner Marshall, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Well, the first item is going to be we need a motion for the approval of the minutes of the February 16th, or actually, do we need it for the March 2nd one, Aaron?
Correct. The March 2nd? Okay, yeah, as of the February 16th.
Okay, thank you.
Through the chair.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Communications.
The usual, people at home could find the packet at sanbruno.ca.gov in the Planning Division section in the Community Development homepage. There you'll find the agenda as well as all the staff reports and the minutes.
Great, thank you, Aaron. Okay, actually, now would be a good time if anybody has a cell phone, if they would please turn it off. I probably should have made that announcement earlier. Okay, now would be a time for any of the public who would wish to speak on an item that is not on the agenda. If you'd so wish to, you can come to the podium. Okay, I don't see anybody. All right, any conflicts of interest? Seeing none. All right, we'll move along. First item of business. This is a request for a use permit to operate a martial arts studio within the CBD Central Business Zoning District and parking exception to allow conversion from a photo retail center to a martial arts studio without providing additional parking per chapters 1296-120 C7 and 12-100-120 of the San Bruno zoning ordinance. Staff report, please.
Thank you and good evening. As the applicant has applied for a use permit and parking exception to establish a Taekwondo business in the Central Business Zoning District. The location is located on the west side of San Mateo Avenue on the 500 block. It is important to note that the Architectural Review Committee recently approved this project for facade funding to update this storefront and an adjacent storefront. That particular project included new paint for the entire structure, a new awning feature that will incorporate signage, as well as a new transparent window pane. Regarding the Taekwondo business, the hours of operation will be 12 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturdays. The applicant has indicated that appointments will be offered on Sundays between the hours of 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. The applicant will also introduce a retail component to the business. They'll be selling merchandise related to the Taekwondo industry, and those retail hours will be 12 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, and on Saturdays between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. When analyzing this project from a use permit standpoint, staff was looking into a number of factors. In any downtown environment, really what you want is active storefronts that are open during daytime hours. In this instance, this storefront will be open during daytime hours. As stated, the applicant will introduce a retail component that is consistent with the other hours of operation of the surrounding retail businesses in the downtown environment. Also, as a result of this project, we're getting an updated storefront. So this will not only help the proposed business, but it will also greatly improve the overall look of the downtown environment. And lastly, as a result of this business, there will be increased foot traffic downtown, which is good for the business and good for the greater downtown environment. Regarding parking, the previous retail tenant required one space per 250 square feet of gross floor area, and the martial arts studio requires one space for each 200 square feet of gross floor area. This results in a net difference of 2 parking spaces. As a result, staff did conduct a parking survey, and we looked at 3 different parking lots, city-owned parking lots downtown. When you combine the overall parking area, a total of 185 parking spaces are included within that parking study area. We conducted counts on 3 different occasions, twice during the daytime hours and once during the evening hours. The daytime hours resulted in a 56% occupancy rate, and the evening hours resulted in a 43% occupancy rate. Overall, the results of the study indicate that there is enough parking downtown to support this parking exception. Overall, staff supports this project and recommends that the Planning Commission approve the use permit and parking exception subject to conditions of approval 1 through 13. I'm available to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much. Good report as usual. Any questions for staff, commissioners? Okay, seeing none, would the applicant please step to the microphone and state your name, and if you want to give us a little brief description of what your project is?
Good evening. My name is Annette Dansel. Thank you for having us here tonight. On behalf of myself, my staff, my family, my students, and the families of my students, thank you again for considering us being a part of the community of San Bruno. I, for one, am very excited about the opportunity. I've lived in the Bay Area all my life. I can't leave it, growing up in South San Francisco. I personally have been in the martial arts since I was 17, 8 years with my master instructor, 13 in Daly City, and now my lifelong dream of having my own school has become a reality, and I thank you once again. I believe that by being a part of this community, I've already in the last month have seen many families walk up and down the street, of course during the day, during the evenings, waving hello, goodbye, and such great potential. I'll walk up and down the street of San Mateo Avenue. Neighbors, potential neighbors, have been very friendly, and I feel very much at home. So again, I thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. Any of the commissioners have any questions of the applicant or for the applicant? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, is there anybody from the public wishing to comment on this particular item on the agenda? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close that and bring it back to the commissioners for discussion, motion.
Through the chair.
Commissioner Smooth.
Yeah, I'd like to make the motion that we approve use permit 10-004 and parking exception 10-002 based on the findings of fact 1 through 5 and conditions of approval 1 through 12.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, seeing none, it passes. There is a 10-day appeal period, and congratulations. Okay, item number 2. This is a request for a parking exception to allow conversion from a computer repair store to a hookah bar. I hope I pronounced that right.
Okay.
Hookah? Okay. Hookah bar. But you can tell I've been to one. Without providing additional parking per Chapter 12, 100, 120 of the San Bruno zoning ordinance. Staff.
Thank you. As stated, the applicant has applied for a parking exception to establish a hookah bar within the Central Business Zoning District. The site is located on San Mateo Avenue on the west side of the street in the 500 block, and it's located directly adjacent to the Taekwondo business. Again, the Architecture Review Committee did approve this project for facade funding, which included new paint for the entire structure and a new awning with signage. Regarding the hookah bar, the proposed hours of operation will be Sunday through Thursday, 1 p.m. to midnight, and on Fridays and Saturdays, it would be open between 1 p.m. and 2 a.m. It is important to note that a hookah bar is a permitted use within the Central Business Zoning District, so the only item we're looking into tonight is the parking. So we're strictly looking at the parking aspect of this business. Regarding the parking, the previous retail tenant required a 1 space per 250 square feet of gross floor area, and the proposed hookah bar requires 1 space per 100 square feet of gross floor area. This results in a net difference of 11 parking spaces. Staff conducted the same parking analysis for this proposed hookah bar as we did for the Taekwondo business. Again, we analyzed 3 sites. The total area has 185 parking spaces. During the daytime hours, the occupancy rate was 56%, and during the evening hours, the occupancy rate was 43%. It is important to note that the parking demand significantly decreases during the later evening hours, as many of the businesses are closed. Therefore, the overall results of the study indicate that there is enough parking downtown to support this use. Staff supports this project and recommends that the Planning Commission approve the parking exception subject to conditions of approval 1 through 15. I'm available for any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Matt. Any questions?
Through the chair.
Commissioner Marshall?
Can you, well, maybe it's an applicant question, but could you just describe the business a little bit more? I mean, is it food, alcohol, drinks, or just smoking, or?
There will be a retail component, so they will be selling hookah tobacco, and there will be smoking involved. However, no food or drink will be allowed.
I'm asking for garbage reasons, so we have no reason to worry about, like, restaurants.
Yeah, there will be no food generated, so I don't think there will be a tremendous increase in garbage.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Through the chair.
Yes, Commissioner.
2 questions about the conditions of approval. Look at number 12. It says a licensed architect will submit the plans. Is that a requirement by the state?
That was a request made by the building official that a licensed architect submit plans for a commercial property.
Really? And this was in the requirement for the property we just approved previous to this?
They're not proposing any work to the proposed retail area, the Taekwondo business. They're strictly moving in, therefore no building permit would be required.
Okay. And then the second question was regarding condition number 13. I see that the application previous to this was also going to install a bike rack. Now, this is the same property, technically.
Correct.
So is it 2 bike racks or 1?
I would say 1 bike rack, but if you would like 2 bike racks installed, we could make
Well,
this.
it doesn't make sense to install 2 one-person bike racks. It's going to take double the amount of space without giving much benefit. So 1 bike rack with more spaces is more appropriate.
Okay.
Through the chair.
Commissioner Marshall?
Matt, maybe, I mean, I don't know the building perfectly, but I think the Taekwondo doesn't really have an exit out the back, because you're talking about the bike rack's going to be in the back, I'm guessing, right? Don't they exit towards really the neighbor's yard where the hookah bar has a side entrance that goes into that mini parking lot?
The hookah bar does have two entrances and 2 exits, off of San Mateo Avenue and to the rear of the building.
Right, but isn't it the rear to the side?
Yes, it is to
And
the
so,
side.
I mean,
Yeah.
it really, I mean, putting a bike rack, I mean, there's really no access to, from the Taekwondo over to that area. Am I correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Even though it's the same building, they don't have the same exits.
Okay. Fair enough. That's all I have.
Any other questions? No? Okay. Thanks, Matt. Would the applicant please step to the microphone and describe what a hookah bar is? For those who don't know?
How you guys doing today? My name is Amitesh Maharaj. I'm going to be the owner of Paradise Hookah Lounge. I want to give you, I want to say thank you for giving me this opportunity today to stand up, before you guys. I started smoking hookah when I was 23 years old, born and raised in Fiji Islands. Came over here when I was 9 years old, landed in SFO, grew up in South San Francisco High School. Well, South San Francisco area, downtown San Bruno as well. I have a lot of families, friends out here in the Bay Area, a lot of people who knows me. Hookah bar is something a lot of college students do, even older people as well, ages from anywhere from 18 to 46 mostly. It's tobacco flavored. There's no, I would say, it's water type tobacco. I would be putting ice in the base. It's pretty, normal stuff for a lot of people just to do, and just relax.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? No? Okay, everybody's familiar with the hookah bar. Very good. All right, thank you.
And it was hookah.
I think we're all over 46, so we're not going to be going down there.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, is anybody from the public, would anybody from the public wish to comment on this particular item? No? Okay, well, we'll close public comment and bring it back to the commissioners for discussion, motion. What's the pleasure?
Yeah, through the chair.
Commissioner Smoot.
Yeah, I'd like to make the motion that we approve parking exception 10-001 based on findings of fact 1 to 2 and conditions of approval 1 through 15.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Congratulations, there is a 10-day appeal period, and that's it. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to the next item.
Why don't you give them a minute to look it up? They're all going to leave. Wait, give them a minute to.
I thought maybe the next one might have All right. The next item on our agenda is a request for a conditional use permit to install a wireless telecommunications facility within a residential zoning district on a joint utility pole in the public right-of-way, per sections 12-220 and 12.84.160 of the San Bruno zoning ordinance. Matt, report, please.
Thank you. As stated, the applicant has applied for a use permit to establish a new wireless facility within a residential zoning district. As you know, the project is located within the public right-of-way adjacent to 1736 Niles Avenue. The applicant is proposing to utilize an existing public utility pole. 3 antennas would be installed on top of that pole, as well as 4 associated equipment cabinets on the base of the pole. The project has been reviewed by the Architects Review Committee once and by the Planning Commission on 2 separate occasions. The Planning Commission has expressed concern regarding the design of the proposed facility. Specifically, the commissioners felt that the proposed facility was inconsistent with the stealth requirement found within the municipal code. Additionally, the Planning Commission expressed concern that the applicant did not fully explore other sites that would meet their gap in coverage and that would meet the stealth requirement within the zoning code. When the application was originally submitted, the applicant stated that the Parkside School site would meet the gap in coverage. However, they did never fully pursue or investigate that site. The commissioners also expressed concern that the applicant did not fully investigate other equipment storage opportunities, such as storing the equipment underground. Because of these concerns, the staff has included findings of denial within the staff report. It is important to note that the applicant will be presenting alternative site designs tonight, and these alternative designs were not included within your staff report, as they are not located at the subject site but are located at different sites. With that, I will turn it over to the Community Development Director, who would like to share additional information regarding the proposed facility. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Aaron?
Thank you. We received an email and a letter from the applicant today, specifically for this application, requesting a continuance as they're investigating possibly putting some of the equipment on a neighboring property. However, we're still recommending that the Planning Commission go forward with this denial based on your comments at the last meeting, since this particular application has not changed, and that we would happily review and go through the process for a new application, but handle it that way as a separate new application, just because it's cleaner and will give them a fresh start through the planning process.
Thank you. Is the applicant aware of that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, would the applicant please step to the microphone and enlighten us once again, please? Thank you.
Good evening, Honorable Chair and Commissioners. My name is Misako Hill. I represent T-Mobile, located at 1855 Gateway Boulevard, Concord, California.
Excuse me, through the chair, could you speak up a little bit?
Located at 1855.
Maybe move the microphone slightly closer.
Located at.
Closer to your
I don't know if I
face.
can.
Is it broken?
She's okay. Just talk.
Located at 1855 Gateway Boulevard, Concord, California. T-Mobile would like to request the continuance to explore the a new design at the 1772 Niles Avenue property, which is directly adjacent to the pole. We are entering into lease negotiations to locate the equipment in the rear yard. And, you know, T-Mobile is also willing to waive any shot clock restrictions if that's a concern.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions of the applicant, by the commissioners? No questions. Okay. Thank you very much. I guess at this time I could open it up to the public comment, and now I will close it to the public comment because there's nobody here. Bring it back to the commissioners for discussion or
Through the chair.
whatever. Commissioner Mishra?
I have a question for our attorney. What's the difference between denying it and continuing it and the 150-day limit?
So if you deny it, then the option of the applicant is either to submit a new application or to appeal to the city council. If you continue it, based on the representation of the T-Mobile representative, that they would waive the FCC timeframes for acting on this application, and provided they so put that in writing, which I understand that they would, then you would stop the clock as of today, where we are, and that clock would not resume until, my understanding is, the next hearing is what they were proposing. So you would have from that next hearing and any time that you still had remaining as the city agency as of today. So if there were still 10 days or 20 days remaining, you would have up to the next hearing plus the remaining time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any other discussion or questions about this particular item?
Through the chair.
Commissioner Peterson?
I think a denial would recognize that the application still is essentially has the same objectionable aspects as before. I'm not sure what advantage there would be to continuation, especially when denial would also restart the clock the next time they make a submittal. It'd give us another period of time to consider what the new application is and possibly even go through another cycle there. So I think there's more than a few advantages to that.
Thank you. Any other comments?
To the chair.
Commissioner Mishra?
I was under the impression that the clock would still be running. So is it a brand new 150 days or is the clock still running?
If the application is denied and the applicant elects to submit a new application, then the clock would start anew.
Okay.
And if the applicant decides to, in the event that it was denied, I have no idea, but then their choice could be to appeal it to the city council, correct?
Correct.
And then what would happen after that? I mean, let's hypothetical, I mean, as far as the time clock is concerned. Let's say if the council, agreed and denied it, or agreed and, but, with the applicant, what's the time frame on either one of those scenarios?
The city, you mean just the clock run between now and the time that the appeal is made with the city council? Is that what you're asking?
Correct.
I don't think so, because I think you make a final decision and then this is a review of their decision. So probably the period would commence again.
Okay, thank you.
Through the chair.
Is that Commissioner Marshall?
I'd like to make a motion that we deny use permit 09024 with a finding to denial on the staff report.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
And we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. It is denied. And I do believe there's a 10-day appeal period, if I'm not mistaken.
Through the chair, I think, I gotta correct the motion, I think I said 24, I meant 25, I was looking. Did I say 24 or 25?
You said 24.
Okay, it should have been 25. I'm looking at both
So
reports
would
here.
you please note that in the minutes, please? Thank you. Okay, so, yes.
Just to be clear, I want to make sure that your motion then encompassed two things. You were both denying the motion to continue and rejecting denying the application.
Yes.
That is my understanding, correct. Thank you.
Through the chair,
Commissioner
I'd
Pearson?
like to ask the city attorney, on the motion and the second that we just passed, it is a technicality, but Commissioner Marshall said 24 instead of 25. Should we re-vote to make it clear?
24, 25 what?
I
That's
said
the-
use permit 25, and it should have been, I said 24, it should have been 25, I was looking at the wrong staff report, so.
No, that's a clerical
Right.
mistake, and so you're just you're clarifying that now this is in fact the application that you were
Okay,
moving on.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, the next item is a request for a conditional use permit to install a wireless telecommunications facility within a residential zoning district on a joint utility pole in the public right-of-way per sections 12.220 and 12.84.160 of the San Bruno zoning ordinance. The staff report, please.
Thank you. As stated, the applicant has applied for a use permit to establish a new wireless facility within a residential zoning district. This is fairly similar to the site that we just reviewed, the 1736 Niles Avenue site. It would be located in the public right-of-way adjacent to 1439 Park Avenue and it's proposed to be located on an existing utility pole. Again, the Architects Review Committee and the Planning Commission reviewed this project. The Planning Commission expressed concern regarding the design of the proposed facility. Specifically, the commissioners felt that stealth design was not being met. Additionally, the Planning Commission expressed concern that the applicant did not fully explore other sites that would meet their gap in coverage and would meet the stealth requirement within the zoning code. Based on these concerns, staff has included findings of denial within the staff report. I'm available for any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Matt. Any
Yeah,
questions?
Through the chair.
Any questions?
Through the chair.
Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Bisson.
Was this the address that had the work that was started without the approval, or was it the other?
That was actually the 1736 Niles
Okay, thank
Avenue
you.
site.
Any other questions?
Through the chair.
Commissioner Peterson?
On both locations, when I talked to the public, they were strongly not in favor of this. Is that something that would either support one of these findings or make another finding appropriate?
I mean, I usually don't put what the public opinion, I use the public's opinion to help form our recommendation, but I don't put the fact that a public is for or against a project within the findings of approval themselves. But I think the wording within the finding of approval, the fact that it looks out of place within a residential neighborhood, does reflect some of the public sentiment.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you very much.
Okay, would the applicant please step to the podium again?
Good evening, Misako Hill. I'm not sure if if we should go ahead and just go through. We did investigate locating alternate sites in the Grundy Park. So I don't know if it would be appropriate to go through those designs or.
I'm going to defer this to the Community Development Director. Eric?
So we didn't include them in the application themselves, or we didn't want it to affect how we comprised our findings for denial, but we did say that they could show you whether there's some other thoughts of how to locate to get some initial feedback from the Planning Commission, with the understanding that this is just initial feedback, nothing binding. You're going to have a full chance to review this through a full new process when it comes to just a courtesy extended to the applicant.
That's fine. Should we take care of this particular item first, and then, depending on
Sure.
What the effect is, then
Yeah.
let them do their. Thank
Sure.
you. Well,
Through the chair.
yes, Commissioner Smoot.
Okay, well, I might have just missed something there, but I just don't see the point of reviewing any additional sites, since that's going to be part of the new review process anyway.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments by any commissioners? Any questions of the applicant? No? Okay, I'm going to open it up to the public. Anybody in the public wishing to speak on this item, would you please step to the podium and state your name? Nope. I'm going to now close public hearing. Bring it back to the commissioners for discussion or a motion.
Through the chair,
Commissioner Marshall.
I'd like to make a motion, we deny the continuance and approval of use permit 09-024 with the included finding of denial.
There's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. So, both the motion to deny and, what was the second part of that one? I'm sorry.
It was just a motion for denial because there was no continuation request with this
Okay.
application.
Oh, well, that one I denied the continuance too, so.
Covered all
Okay.
bases. Is it okay if the applicant does show you a couple of their photo simulations now?
I have no problem with that whatsoever. Please, go right
Did you
ahead.
say there's a 10-day one?
I'm sorry, there's a 10-day appeal period. Thank you.
I just don't see that it's, I don't see the point. I mean, we can't act on it, we're not
Yeah.
gonna do anything with it, it's just,
Okay, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. And to give the applicant some credit, they did take direction from what some of the suggestions that the planning commission had for other site locations and have incorporated them into these new photo simulations. So when it does come back up to the architecture review committee, I think everyone will be pleased with their progress.
Great, thank you then. Okay, next item on the agenda, discussion.
Through the chair.
Commissioner Biasotti.
I'd like to recommend to staff that we forward to Code Enforcement 1736 Niles on that pole to have them remove whatever equipment improvements that have been done to that pole immediately. Thank you.
Through the chair,
Commissioner Mishra.
I just wanted to bring up the agenda item 5D. On the cover sheet, it says 5B, just for the record. I just noticed that on the online copy.
Okay.
Thank you. Usually that would be Commissioner Peterson's bailiwick.
Well, mine says 5G.
Get out. Any other discussion?
We just have our normal selection.
Through the chair, could I do one thing before that?
Commissioner Peterson.
On architectural review, I'm sorry, I don't remember who else was there besides myself. I was probably
a little narcissistic, don't you think?
Well, staff will remember I was a little upset with the sign for the beauty shop at Bay Hill. And at the same time, I made it clear that it was acceptable to have a temporary sign there. Have they applied for anything?
No, the applicant has not since applied for a new sign application, or they haven't brought any proposal for temporary signage at this time.
Thank you.
Any other points of discussion here?
got me.
April 15th, architectural review. Commissioner Biasotti.
Tax day. I'll be filing my taxes.
Anyone else? Commissioner Samut and Commissioner Chase, Chair Chase, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anything else? If not, I will adjourn this meeting. So adjourn, thank you. Because nobody.